Today, we're going to be covering lending options, how to build a lending empire if you want to, how alternative lending works, the potential of it, and investing part of that. Whether you want to generate a couple of $1,000s of extra income, or you want to build a good foundation of making 20, 30, 40, 50K per month, or build your retirement nest egg, investing into the alternative lending industry and have your money pretty much keep having babies and mass produce itself, which is what I've been doing for the past couple of years. Hello everyone. Oz Konar here with Business Lending Blueprint. Good to have you guys. I just want to briefly tell you how I got started in the alternative lending industry. I was doing a lot of cold calling out on the streets because I don't really have much of a marketable skill set. I had my formal education, the double major in biology and chemistry that taught me a lot about the scientific method of thinking, but it taught me very little about entrepreneurship, survival, making money, becoming rich and wealthy and all that stuff, right? So, but I was very ambitious to doing that because I came from a relatively poor family and I didn't want that to continue. So I was making about $20, $30 per sale on the stuff that I was selling. Before I got introduced to alternative lending, I met a guy who was also selling stuff to restaurants, but he was selling loans. And we were just chit-chatting and he mentioned that if I can refer him a couple of clients, he can pay me really handsomely. And I agreed to that because it made sense that he was selling money and I was dealing with restaurants. Restaurants are usually either looking to buy stuff, looking to buy another location, looking to buy equipment, looking to hire people. So the conversation of having access to more money is always something, right? And I said, you know what? I can do that. You look like a nice guy. I picked up the phone and I had, I think 200 clients at the time of restaurant owners. And I called a couple of them and I said, hey, are you guys looking for money? I met someone who's telling me basically that they can get you approved for funding, even if the banks say no, even if you have bad credit. Some people were skeptical. A few others said, you know what, send them over and we'll talk. That's exactly what I did. I think 4 of them said yes to having a call. I told them, hey, I'm going to send this guy over. He's going to talk to you. This is happening in New York City because I used to live in Pennsylvania and New Jersey and then New Jersey. So I was commuting back and forth like 2 hours every single day. So then I forgot about that conversation. I gave him the leads that said, okay, to be contacted by him. I think it was like 10 days later, he gave me a call and he said he wanted to meet again over coffee. We did, but he had an envelope in his hand. He said, congratulations, one of the referrals got funded for $40,000. And the check he gave me wasn't the amount of $4,000. Of course, I couldn't believe because as I said, for each sale that I make, I'm making anywhere from 5 cents to $30, $40. And this guy gave me a check for $4,000. That was the biggest payday I ever had in my life. I think here I'm 24, 25 years old. So I immediately called my wife and I said, hey, I don't know what happened, but I made this much money. So I came home, we took a picture of this. And I also sent the picture of this to my mom. She's been the biggest supporter of me all through all of this because ever since I was a child, I kept talking about how I don't like being poor, how I don't like that, we need government help and all that stuff. So I always complain about it. So seeing the $4,000 check, it just, my mind was totally boggled. Just couldn't make sense out of it. Then of course, after depositing the check, it was a nervous wait if the check is going to clear or not. Boom, it was $4,000 in my bank account. I'm like, okay, so I think I found something here. And I kept talking to that guy. I'm like, dude, what did you do? Tell me. And he gave me like a 1-hour sermon on how he did it. I had no idea. It just went over my head. I didn't understand anything. All I wanted to know is, how do I repeat this? Now, obviously, any half smart person would want to know what the next step is. And I was just kind of begging him because I can really find any information about this industry online. Like this goes back like 15 years ago. So he's like, yeah, dude, if you hang out with me, we go to places and you can sign up under my company. We can work together. That was my entry point. It was the pivot that pretty much my life took. It was an iconic moment for me to get involved with that. I worked for another company who did that, started making a lot of money, started combining this with other products such as POS systems, the touchscreen systems. I've gotten to a point of making about $250K per year. That's when I quit. I quit my job. And my boss was super shocked. We're still friends today, but he couldn't understand my reasoning because I noticed that although I was at that point financially comfortable, it's not what I wanted. I wanted to build something because I knew that if I just stay working for somebody else, it's a golden handcuff, there would be a point that they would try to either get rid of me or they would just cap my earnings and all that stuff. And that gave me the confidence that I'm worth a lot more than $250,000 a year. And then I quit and I started getting deeper and deeper into alternative lending industry and offering marketing services to others, doing lead generation. I mentioned we started doing marketing for other alternative lending providers. Then I noticed that they're very short-sighted usually. They just wanted to keep having a lot of employees, big office, fancy suits, fancy cars, and all of that. They were all about giving the perception that they were making a lot of money versus just working from home and making a lot of money. So I said, what if I take all of this information and teach it to people who are ambitious, who are looking for a way out of their golden handcuff, or their low-income job, whatever they have going on, that although they are trying, they're not finding a way out. I started presenting this as an opportunity for them to see and believe in it. Some believed in it, some didn't believe in it. That's the beginning of my journey in the alternative lending industry. Just wanted to give you the backstory as to where I'm coming from. So this is not just a random idea that I had that I wanted to train people on. This actually saved my life. That's why I'm super passionate about this. I don't have any other side gigs going on. I don't even think I have a lot of hobbies, honestly. Like Business Lending Blueprint is my baby, my passion, because I know that it works, because it worked for me and it works for others. I'm going to share a couple of success stories today that are from our community that I literally picked up today, that people are posting how they quit their jobs and doing this full time and things like that. We're going to go through the fundamentals of how alternative lending works. This applies to many other industries too. So on this slide, you're not going to see anything that is different than some other businesses. But what it comes down to is that if you want to grow a business, you got to have sources of fresh leads, right? And if you're in BLB, we show you so many ways to generate it without you having to do anything tricky like cold calling, telemarketing, buying leads, or anything like that. But once you have the leads, many problem people have is this smart, I call it smart nurtures. So nurturing, caring for those, providing information. Our system automates that on your behalf. So you automatically keep your leads up to date with what's going on, provide information on the lending options, provide information on how this industry works. That builds your pipeline. If you're in sales, you know what pipeline is. If you ever sold anything, that's the stack of people that are likely to work with you. So you want to have that. You want to keep that growing every single day. Even if you're not doing the sales yourself in our community, you don't have to. That builds up the list of people who are interested in getting funding either right now or in the next 15, 20 days or in a month or 3 months or 6 months. Why? Because yours is not an offer that expires or cyclical or seasonal or anything like that. You're selling money, and at some point they're going to need it and they become customers, and through automation you can grow that. But what we want to do is we want to create leverage. So not only you're doing this, you're learning how to do this, but you're using leverage to add more income to your money. That's why I want to show you different models. Then we're going to go into specific lending products, right? So I know we have a lot of questions on, hey, Oz, can I fund this deal? Can I fund that deal? Can I get funding if I'm in this situation and that situation and whatnot? I'm going to walk you through, I think 80 to 90% of all the funding options we train our brokers on. So you're going to have clarity on what funding options count as alternative lending that you can do without licensing or degrees or past experience or anything like that. Details on that, how you get paid, what you get paid, and all of that. But I want to give you an overall framework on how this works and how you can go from someone who's making a little side income here and there all the way to someone who's just making passive income, even if you're not funding deals. So this is pretty much the most basic fundamentals of how any sales work, right? So the next thing is the leverage. And, I borrowed this from Investopedia. Financial leverage, meaning that it's an investment strategy of using borrowed money, specifically the use of various financial instruments, borrow capital to increase the potential return of an investment. What that basically says is that you're using other people's investments to grow your bottom line, right? So that's exactly what we're doing in the alternative lending industry. Money is not coming from your pocket. There are lenders, there are borrowers. You are the broker. And as the broker, you're facilitating this process. You're doing the financing matchmaking. That's what leverage is. But beyond that, once you get past that point, then you can do partial syndication, passive syndication, and become a lender. So these terms might not be familiar to you at all. I'm going to walk you through them right now. The first step is obviously becoming a business loan broker and helping others get access to capital. But there are ways where you can do the same number of deals per month, but make 3 to 4 times more deal. So this is your lead, right? You get leads, which is not that difficult at all. Millions of small businesses and almost 17,000 of them are being added every day. So your leads are all around you, from the people that you already know, or local community, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, in the blueprint, even if you're not familiar with lead generation, you can generate your first couple of leads. The first step is given. So you need to have someone who is looking into getting capital. And then when you do get it funded, so you send it to a lender gives you the money or gives your client the money, boom, you make money, right? So you're making $2,000 to $4,000 on this transaction. What partial syndication is, you get to a point in your career as a business loan broker and you say, you know what, I want to work a lot less, but I want to make a lot more per deal because I'm financially comfortable. People usually get to this point in month 3 or so. If your current monthly expense to keep a roof over your head and keep your standard of living, let's say it's $5,000, and your income in 3 months changes to $15,000 per month, well, that's 3 times more than what you need, right? So you need $5K, you have $10K extra. Let's say you increase your standards a little and you're paying off some, debt and you're at $10,000, but you have additional $5K. What do you do with that? Obviously, you can save it or you can invest into the deals that you're funding because these are your deals. So you can tell the lenders, hey, the customer needs $20,000. What if I provide my $5,000? So I'm going to fund them out of my pocket while you fund the $15,000. So collectively, the customer still receives $20,000, but $5,000 is coming out of your pocket. 75,000 is 75%, which is the 15,000 is coming from the lender's funding sources. So on this amount, you make the same amount, right? But on this, you make up to 4 times. Why? Because now you're becoming a lender. And this process is called partial syndication. So you do 4 deals a month. If you're not a partial syndicator, on an average commission of $2,500, let's say, you're making 10 deals. But if you do partial syndication, your money totaling can go up to 15 to 20K, depending on how lucrative this deal is, about the size of it, and how much you're willing to put in. Because obviously you're taking some level of risk, right? So this is up to 25%. So we usually tell people don't fund the entire 25%, maybe fund 10% and spread your cash out to multiple deals. And then this process is managed and driven by the lender. So you don't really need to fully understand how that works. You just tell the lender, hey, I want to pitch into this deal and I'm going to put in $1,000. And then you're paid differently on that one. That's how you start syndicating. You're becoming an investor pretty much without needing an investment fund or any licensing, even without really understanding how this works. Like, this is how I started out. I started making access money. And at the time, I didn't even know there was a thing called partial syndication. And I started talking to the lenders and I said, I want to be able to fund these deals. And they were like, well, I mean, you don't have that much money to fund an entire deal. Like, we're here to fund it. But if you want to pitch in, you can do that and you'll get paid a lot more. I started doing it and I had another epiphany moment, like the one that I got on my $4,000 check. I was like, holy cow, this adds up pretty fast. And that jumped my income from just this business, 15K to 25K in a matter of months. I'm like, that's interesting. So let me find out more about this online or let me read a book on it. That was nothing. So similar to alternative lending industry, there is still nothing as far as I know on this one. Yeah, syndication is not a new concept. You can have real estate syndication, for example, like Grant Cardone and people like him. They start syndications where they get money from a bunch of people to buy a physical property or buy a business and whatnot. But you're buying money with your money, so you're not holding on to an asset long term. That's the problem with all the other types of syndications, that whenever you buy something, your money is locked in there for a certain amount of time. I recently invested into pre-IPO company, quite a bit of money, gave my money, signed the paperwork, but I know that my money is going to be stuck there for 5, maybe up to 10 years, right? So I invested knowing that. But in this situation, a lot of the terms on these deals are at most like 6 months. So your money is in and out in 6 months, but you're making a lot more than that. Obviously, if you're a super beginner, I don't suggest you do this. You're taking unnecessary risk, obviously, when you don't even understand. You don't do this on your first deal, but there will be nothing stopping you from doing this on your 5th deal, 6th deal, 7th deal. And the reason I'm sharing these kind of advanced level opportunities here for you to see the full picture, because that's how my mind works, right? When I'm starting a new opportunity, I ask myself, yes, the initial upfront earnings potential is amazing, but is there anything else down the line? Like, what's my path to either, semi or full retirement or an exit strategy? Does this business allow me to have that option? That's why I'm showing you the full picture. Whether you go there with me or not is up to you, obviously. Isn't this like an amazingly cool concept? It was a self-discovery for me because, well, just like anyone who gets a taste of making money, you're just looking to figure out a way to make more money. And I figured it out. I'm like, I got to talk about this. This is not cool that people are not talking about this. You can choose to invest in deals that are a lot short term. Like I personally invest, I want to average 6 months because I want my money back in 6 months. I don't want my money to be locked up in a fund for the foreseeable future or until the company goes IPO and whatnot. So with this approach, even if I'm throwing $5,000 at this, I know that I'm going to get it back with interest in the next 6 months at most. Obviously, there is the risk of default because, just like in any funding option, so this is not risk-free, right? But we know that the lender is doing the underwriting on these deals. They don't want to lose money. So everyone is skin in the game. These guys are not stupid to think that I'm going to give this money and if I lose it, I lose it. No, this is what they do. I don't want to learn underwriting. I don't want to understand how they make decisions. I know who brought through the door. I brought this guy through the door. They're telling me it's a good fit. Obviously, there's some level of risk, but still you're getting your money plus the additional funding. And also they make it easier for you to work with them because guess what? You are splitting the risk with them because you're bringing a lead. They don't know who the lead is. It's your relationship. They are being asked to fund it. They are a lot more willing if you tell them, let's split the risk. You're becoming a partial. If syndication is making complicated, just cross it and put a lender so you can become a partial lender, So this is partial syndication. Let's move into passive syndication. So this is I call it the wealth builder tool, the investment vehicle. So in this case, this requires more money. This requires a relationship with the lenders. So that's why if you're in BLB, we have these pods of 3-4 people doing this. We open this up with certain lenders, do a few of them a year. And then what happens is if you are not funding deals or if you are within BLB for a year or so and you accumulated $100,000, $200,000 extra and you want to be funding small businesses, this is what the passive syndication is. So others bring leads to the lenders, right? So let's say, in BLB, we have people who keep generating leads and they're bringing those leads to the lenders. Lenders have 100 of those leads and they fund it. You become a part of the lender network, meaning that where they get the money is you and your pod. For example, one of the pods that I created in BLB with some of our key members is everyone pitched in $50K. So we had $250K in it. We talked to this lender. We started the syndication. So whenever the lender needs money to fund these deals, they take a portion of it from our pod and invest into this. Within a year, we invested into over 300 small businesses and we're making a lot more passive income. Actually, I had an inner circle, like a mastermind for only like 20 people that we would just work together one-on-one. What I did the first time I did the fully passive syndication, I told them, listen guys, until this time, I only had done partial syndication. I'm going to move into passive syndication. So here's what I want to do with the members of my mastermind. I'm going to start this bank account, put $250K in it. We're going to watch the progress of that account for 1 year. Okay. So every week when we had our small group and sometimes one-on-one calls, depending on the need, I would open up my bank account and show them what's happening with the passive syndication. So at the end of year one, we made return on investment was close to 50% on that, right? And this is all short-term investing. And then I said, okay, so I've done it with $250,000 of my money. I want to open it up to a few members. If you want to do that, if you're comfortable putting in at least $50K, we started that fund. That fund is working. So the difference here is you're not worrying about bringing your own leads. There are plenty of people who bring leads into our lenders, and lenders, they fund these deals. You just become a part of the lender's money resources pretty much, and then you make money on every single deal. And the ROI, again, this is not financial advice. This is not guaranteed. I just want to be legally clear. I'm just sharing what has been happening to our fund. And this is the next level up in your journey as a business loan broker. So I don't need to find the leads. I don't need to talk to anyone. I don't need to do any underwriting. I just put my money to work and my money grows there. So we have a few of these pods right now within BLB. This is not open to every BLB member. So I only, make that happen with the people that I know closely, because again, everyone is taking a certain amount of risk. Like I'm putting in my money, they're putting in their money. And then these lenders, they don't necessarily need a lot of money. They have their own money too. Like this is like a best kept secret. So you learn, even if you don't take away anything, but you see this and you go, okay, there is a way out, because the rich, they get richer and wealthier by making their money work. They don't keep working to earn earn money, right? A lot of the income and wealth building doesn't come from earned money. It's coming from passive income, owning assets and investing in assets. That's why after my initial investment and buy a couple of real estates, like I mentioned yesterday, I sold all of them. I'm all in the alternative lending industry. That's why I'm not going anywhere. I have a lot of skin in this industry. Why? Because I have access to information and relationships that very few people have. And we share this with our community in BLB. So it's not just a business and money-making opportunity, because over the next couple of decades, there's going to be a massive wealth transformation. And you don't want to miss that. The only way to not miss that is getting yourself closer to the source of the money, right? Since it is almost impossible for most people to own their own bank. When you think about it, you can't really start your own bank. Well, this is one way to become the bank and take advantage of the demand. That's why I said you have two options. Either you'll be the person who will need the funding, either now, later, at some point you'll be the customer of alternative lending, or you can become the source of the money. You can start out as a business loan broker with minimal to no investment if you want to do it on your own, no investment. If you want to join us, it's less than $3,000. We give you all the training, and then that's your way in, inching your way closer into the money, because you want to be in the know. Whether you do this as a business loan broker or not, you cannot afford not knowing all the stuff. So I really do appreciate you guys taking advantage of this. Right now, you know, and this is not something that you're just going to forget about, whether you get involved or not. So the last part is becoming a lender. Some of you said, you know, I don't want to work a lot. I don't want to work forever. Maybe I want to put in a few years, then become like a passive syndicator. But we have others in our community who just want to become the actual lender, you know, someone who facilitates all of this and becomes an actual lender, finds the lending partners. That's also an option. So although this is not my goal, I don't think I will ever be a direct lender. For those who have done it, kudos to them. Actually, I never forget this. There was a guy named Ben, and he was a part of my higher tier system, which we don't offer anymore because I'm all in the community. And so this guy would join the meetings every single week. He had a major anxiety about talking on the phone with people. I told him, hey, you don't have to use our partners. He used our partners for a while, but he didn't feel great about that inability to talk to people. He just wanted to overcome it. He learned it. He overcame it. Then he started funding a lot of deals, and he got really curious about the underwriting process. He came up to me. He's like, Oz, I want to learn underwriting. I'm like, why, dude? Just fund deals and let the underwriters do their work. He's like, no, I'm just curious. I want to learn. I'm like, cool. So I recommended an underwriter. So he started shadowing that person, learning about how they're writing the deals. And he said, Oz, I'm traveling overseas. I'm going to South America. I'm going to start an office. I'm like, okay, because I know that I've told him a story, how I started an office in Colombia back then. I had employees and traveled there and whatnot. So he said he wants to do something similar to that. And he went there and he started an office. Anyways, then like a year went by and I didn't really hear much from him. And I was invited to speak at an industry event. There's an industry, I guess, news agency. They have magazines, like news network called Debanked. And then they invited me to become their keynote speaker for their event in New York City. So I was on stage. I talked about what we do and how the landscape is changing towards, you know, becoming more online friendly, blah, blah. And at the end, I saw Ben. I'm like, Ben, what are you doing here? He's like, hey, I came back and I'm in New York City now. I just wanted to ask you a question, but it is kind of personal. Can we just do it on the side? I'm like, sure, man. What's going on? He's like, dude, I became a lender and I accumulated like $2 million in my bank account. I'm like, wow, okay. I'm like, is that money kind of sitting there? He's like, yeah, just sitting there. I don't really know what to do with it. Like, I'm syndicating. I'm also lending. What do I do? I'm like, well, you can become like a full-time lender. You seem to be enjoying the process of underwriting, understanding the whole dynamics, all the moving parts. He's like, can I do that? I'm like, yeah, sure. And we made some introductions and he became a full-on lender. So he was the one who's getting brokers sign up to his company, send deals to him. And he had access to his own money, obviously, but he was able to find more investors. And syndication partners created this whole structure for himself. He has like 60 employees or something like that at this point. So we have a few people in our community who's done this. Again, this is if you are super obsessed about becoming like a full-time entrepreneur with a big office, the employees and all those moving parts. I've been there. I've done that. At some point, we used to have like 20 something odd employees and I personally didn't like it. I like simplicity. I like a lean structure with a lot of support. And I like taking advantage of created systems already that work like clockwork. It wouldn't be Ben, but I would work with Ben because I trust him. I know him. So I just want to show you what that looks like in this diagram. Like if you wanted to do that, that's also an option. There will be nothing stopping you from it other than your intellectual curiosity about how the system works. Sometimes we get this question just so you guys understand. A lot of people are like, hey man, why don't you become the main broker and sign up everyone under you and have them send the deals through you so you take a cut. I'm like, no, dude, like I have no intention of becoming the super broker. I want to give all these resources and freedom to people and give them access to the lenders so they become an actual business owner instead of kind of working under me. Just watch out for structures like that. Some companies position it as a way to becoming an entrepreneur. You're not. You're just becoming, I guess, an affiliate partner in their network. You're just submitting leads and you're using their website, their funnel, and all of that. That's not what we do. That's why we give you an actual website, actual funnel. Everything is like under your branding. Okay, so I just want to share this. Like this made my day. Apparently this person posted this 4 days ago. I took a screenshot from our community. I'm thrilled to announce that I just funded my 5th deal and I'm now able to commit full-time to this venture. All thanks to the invaluable support and knowledge I've gained from this group and the course. Your guidance has been pivotal to my success. Advice for people just getting started. Work with only direct funders and build your own relationships 100%. That's why we support it. Sometimes people look at BLB, Business Lending Blueprint, and they ask like, oh, Oz, how many lenders do you give access to? That might seem like a relevant question, but trust me, it's not. If I wanted to try to impress people by the number of lending partners, yeah, we could have built a list of 200, 300 companies and just blast it and tell people, brag about the numbers that we provide. But my goal is to teach the business, give you the solid partners to get you off the ground. Then we fully support you to build your own relationships. Again, you're not working for BLB. I don't want more employees. I want more entrepreneurs who control their own lives. I want more people who want a similar to the path that I've gone through. If I was going to hire everyone under me, why would I quit my job, right? Because why do you think I quit a job that pays me $250,000? Because I'm against that structure and it wouldn't be authentic for me to support it and everyone under me. I did not support it. So Eden got it. He nailed it, right? So he took advantage of what we offer, built the relationship, funded the deals, and turned this into a full-time thing. So that's what I want all of you to do. That's why I am giving away all this information. So even if you don't join me on this journey, I'll still be here probably 3 decades from now. But I want you to succeed either way without giving your soul away to some other organization. So still build your own thing. That's why not only I know that he's doing this full-time right now. I don't know if he had a job or anything like that. Probably he did. He got rid of it. That's why I call the job a golden handcuff. It's not because it's evil. It's just all of you have a lot more potential than reporting to someone else, right? So I just wanted to share this. So the next thing, there's the hidden opportunity, which I recently talked about at our what we call BLB Power Day. It's 1-day in-person events. We've done one in Dallas, Orlando, New York, and we have one coming up in Miami. It is already sold out. Miami one is a 2-day event. We're going to have like 45 people. They're going to be spending 2 days with me and my executive team on lending strategy. So we had 1-day events, but people always like, oh man, I wish there was this 2nd day. So we increased it to 2-day. So we're going to have more events next year, but the first one is in January in Miami. Again, it's sold out already. That's one of the things that I talked about in the earlier, last month we were in Dallas. So this was one of the things that I talked about, kind of warning my brokers saying that, listen, businesses need additional services. As a business loan broker, people are trusting you with their funding. You have the opportunity to make a lot of money whenever they're trying to make decisions on all of this, right? They need to register their business if this is a startup, because why do you think startup companies need money? Well, they need to register the business. They probably need an accountant, maybe not immediately, but later. They need a CRM system, client relationship management system, customer relationship management system. They need marketing companies. They need content creation. If they're going to apply for a government funding option, they're going to need like business plan. They need a lead generation company, build marketing funnels, website, SEO, social media management. So you want to be the resource for these people because they are looking to get funding through you. So this is just a massive opportunity for our business brokers, business loan brokers, and they're taking advantage of this recently. And in our community, we give you access to partners who provide all of that. But this is how you switch to an expert model. I know this could look kind of overwhelming, but again, this is how my brain works. Hopefully you guys can relate. So this is business and they need all of these services and they're going to pay somebody for these services. And if you're just a business loan broker, you're still killing it, obviously, with all the options, but you can still tap into other income sources if you are the person, like the financing expert, and you have partners who can fulfill those needs. Otherwise, this chart diagram will be different. You will be on this side providing funding, and this business will take funding and they'll spend it on all this stuff. And this money will go to these partners. They're not partners anymore, right? They're at that point, at that level, they're different businesses providing these services, and you're not in the middle. You're not making money. That's the earlier model that I've shown, is the business loan broker model, investor model, and financial freedom model, passive investor model. This is the expert model. So you want to develop a Rolodex of partners. That's why when someone says they need to say 30K, we always ask the question, hey, that's awesome. We might be able to help you, but what are you going to do with the money? Oh yeah, so we're going to start a direct mail campaign. Great. Okay, well, I know someone. Is it okay if I connect you with that person? So you don't need to understand how direct mail works, but if you know companies who are okay with paying you as like an affiliate, that would be awesome. All right, let's move on to the next one. Fair warning. I'm going to show you a bunch of one-page sheets. They're straight from our website. So they might look complicated, but kind of focus on more on what I'm saying versus what you're reading, because you'll find out soon that a lot of what I'm showing you is handled internally by us through our training and coaching. So you're not going to just grab a cheat sheet and run it by yourself and figure things out. Like, we know what problems that you can run into, because I've run into probably all the problems that you can potentially run into. I probably made not all the mistakes. That wouldn't be fair, but I made a lot of mistakes and I still make them. That's why we put together under every training, we put together like a one-page cheat sheet about all the products and services and funding options that you can provide to your customers. So let's go to the first one. Okay, real estate lending used to not be a part of business lending blueprint, right? I didn't really get into real estate lending because it is too broad. There's so many options, but we noticed that real estate is getting into alternative lending, even if you were not putting real estate into alternative lending. One problem that real estate people have in this country is that they want to do more deals, but banks are kind of stopping them from more deals because they need more funding. And as we mentioned, banks are very risk averse, and a lot of these fix and flip companies, they're not running 100 million, 200 million operations. They just want to do their third or fourth deal for the year. And bank is already going, whoa, that's too many. It's like a major dilemma. Unless you do 4, 5, 6 deals a year, you're not really making a lot of money unless you're doing like super high end stuff. I'm just overly generalizing. And if you want to do that many, then you have a problem of finding the funding. So if you can get funding from a bank, we highly suggest that you do. Most real estate investors, they can't after their third or fourth deal. That's why we have partners who provide funding on fix and flip loans. And this is like a 3-4 page explanation of how it works and how to position the leads. And our partners are very deal friendly. So even if you just have the lead information, meaning the information on the location, who wants to do it, their experience, details on the property, you pass it off to them, they do the work, right? So that's like super important. So otherwise, you figuring out how real estate investing works, it will take time. It requires mastery. So that's important. The other option is the SBA funding, Small Business Administration loans. They have pretty amazing options for businesses. They have startup options. They have existing funding for existing businesses. They go up to like $5 million or so. Some of you might even have tried it. As a business loan broker, you can offer SBA, and they can also get it from the banks. But the difference is when you do offer it, you can bridge it with other funding options that the banks do not have access to. So SBA takes about 3 months to 6 months to go through and get approved on funding, right? Which is a problem for small businesses. If they need $100,000, they probably need it yesterday or today or tomorrow. So they might not want to wait 3 to 6 months, but we have options to bridge it to short-term funding options. So while your customer is working on getting the SBA, you can provide them the $100,000 up front, right? They get it, they use it now, and they can pay it back when they get the SBA. So you're kind of double dipping. You're solving an immediate problem, and then you're also offering them another option, which is SBA is going to have one of the best terms out there. And then you're making money either way. You're making money 1 to 2% on SBA deals, sometimes more. But these are relatively larger deals, right? So it could be a $250K to $1 million deal. If you're getting $1 million SBA and 2%, that's $20K in your pocket. And then you're also doing the short-term front end. So we teach you and train you guys on this one and provide the lenders for you to work with. So that's why I have SBA in our platform, because it makes it super easy to bridge it with other funding options. And we have partners who can do all that paperwork for you if you want to just submit it, if you want to learn how to do it yourself. But yeah, this is a great product. It works whether you're a startup. There are some qualifications and whatnot, but I highly do not suggest that you just try to go learn SBA funding, because there's a lot. It's a lot easier to do it if you're in a community of people who do it every single day. So that's SBA. Again, it could be a full day training. We do have a lot of training on SBA. I'm not not going to go through that. Merchant cash advance, this is an advance. So meaning that this is really not a loan. This is advance given on the future receivables, which is a complicated way of saying the funding is provided to business based on their current revenue. So you look at the business, this is the fastest underwriting product in the alternative lending industry. Take a construction company for the sake of the example. Let's say they're making $50,000 per month and they need $50,000 in loan. Our underwriters look at the bank statement of that business, only 2-3 months of bank statements, and within the same day, they can make an offer at 50, 60, 70,000 at a certain payback amount. And they might say, here's 50,000, but we're going to need you to pay 60,000. So it's not like interest, it is a payback amount. You borrow and you pay back something, and then your commission out of that is 8 to 10 points. Meaning that if this person says, you know what, I want the money, I need it fast. I know it is expensive, but I honestly do not have any other option. I don't want to wait for SBA. I don't want to wait for my Wells Fargo to get back to me. I don't want a term loan because it's going to take another 2 weeks. I don't want to release my financials. There are a lot of small businesses like that who simply do not want to give their tax returns to a bank. I don't blame them, right? Because, a lot of businesses are doing what they can to save money on taxes and show expenses. And if you show your tax return and it shows zero profit, but in fact, wink, wink, everyone knows that you made some profit, you don't want to put yourself in a situation and they go, you know what, I'll take that $50K. So on that money, you're making $5,000 to $7,000, right? So it's not a good fit for everyone. If business cannot afford to pay it back, well, they shouldn't take it. And the underwriters will underwrite the deal and tell them, hey, you're in a high risk category. We're going to charge you more money because you might just fail. But this is an option and it is in super high demand because people want to take it. Again, like I said, that you cannot create demand. Even if you want it so hard, you wouldn't be able to manufacture demand. But if there is demand that's not fulfilled, people are going to take you up on offers like this. That's what merchant cash advance is. You make a lot of money through that, and the merchant they can every 3 months or so, they can renew it. So this is repeat income. So I think up until last year, I was still making money on the deals that I funded years ago because they kept coming back to get more. It happens a lot in the restaurant industry. They need the money now to buy inventory because it's the holiday season, right? So they're going to need a lot of inventory and they don't want to just fill up their credit cards. Then they're going to hurt their credit rate. They want to get the money because they know they're going to make the money back. They're going to be able to pay it back. Like it's predictable businesses. Or an opportunity arises. They want to buy a competitor. It doesn't really happen in the restaurant industry, but in other industries, if I had 50K, I would have bought that guy out right now. It happens a lot in transportation industry. You want to buy another truck. You just want to make it simple. You just want to buy the damn truck and pay cash. That's one of those things like that happens. It's a hot product for sure. So not so expensive loan options. They can go from, this is a cheat sheet from one of our lending partners. It can help someone get 5,000 to 500,000. And these are all the industries. Like most of the industries are here. There's very little that you cannot fund. These are longer term paybacks, 12 to 24 months. Very minimal documentation is needed. Usually you can fund a deal like this in 1 week. And we have, with this lending partner, we have staff assigned to only work with our BLB members. So this person jumps on a live call every single week with our members, going through this. They talk to your customers, they collect documentation, they close the deal on your behalf and pay you. These are slightly more expensive than bank loans because if someone can get a loan from the bank, they should. But statistically speaking, 86% of the small business loan applications are declined. So only 14% actually can get it. The rest, if the merchant cash advance is too expensive for them, that's not a problem. You have options here that can go up to 24 months and it's a lot less expensive. So this is another option. We fully train you on this. People have different personalities. Some of you guys will go crazy over consuming all the information. Some of you will be like, I don't care, man. I just want to know the bare minimum so I can just talk to people and send it over. Or some of you will be like, I don't like talking to people. Can I automate my marketing? And when the leads come in, I can be like a facilitator. I can just pass it off to the lending partners. Again, some will go hardcore on this and want to learn everything. That's why our program is designed for different personality types. That's why, like the examples that I'm giving, some of our people ended up becoming a lender, which I wouldn't do, but they wanted to do it, still make money. If someone is needing money from us, that's okay too. That's why I teach it all. Okay, this is something many people do not even know. You can get funding through your IRA or 401k. Well, you might say, duh, Oz, I can go to my IRA company or 401k and pull the money out, but I'm going to pay 20% whatever, penalty. Well, we have partners that would do that on your behalf, that would take care of that, and you wouldn't incur penalties. And on top of that, you're making money. We have like an 1 hour training, and the partner he has become a friend friend of mine over time, very cool guy. He's worked for these different organizations and whatnot. So if a customer of yours has no money, no credit, like nothing, no business, no revenue, and they're like looking to get funding when they have 401k, you can help them get that money out of 401k with minimal to no penalty, and you still make money that way. That's another option. Business line of credit. This is my favorite type of funding option. And business line of credit is, if someone already has good credit or they learn about credit through you because of our training and they get qualified for business line of credit. So a lot of the times they can get qualified for like up to $250,000 on business line of credit. But let me first define what business line of credit is. It's a line of credit, meaning that no one is giving you that $200,000 as a cash or money in the account, but you're approved for it. So if you want to tap into it, let's say it's the holiday season, you're going to buy inventory and you don't feel like, or you don't think you're going to get approved if you apply for a loan. But if you're already approved for a line of credit, you can pull money against it. You can take $50,000 out of it, buy your inventory, you pay it back. And then once you pay it back or halfway through it, you can take more money, pay it back, more money. And as a business loan broker, the magical thing about this is every time this is happening, you get paid. We have people who are getting paid over and over and over again on a few deals that they submitted even a couple of years ago, right? That's the beauty of a business line of credit. We tell everyone, listen, if you think your business is going to be impacted by a recession, if it ever happens, we highly suggest that you get approved for a business line of credit. You don't have to use it, but 3 quarters from now, if you get hit pretty bad and the bank says, you know what, we're not funding the restaurants anymore, what are you going to do? Well, if you're already pre-approved, you can draw on that one and make your purchases for a pretty good interest rate. And every time that happens as a business loan broker, you make a lot of money. And term loans is if someone needs the money and they don't have a business and they don't do the credit card stacking, you can fund someone based on their W-2 income. See how versatile this is? Like, I know this, I'm just accumulating layers on top of your head and you might be getting overwhelmed. Again, going back to the warning that I've given you before I started sharing these sheets, don't read it and try to memorize it. So these are all individual products. You can niche down on one of them. You can choose, you can become a generalist, decide to focus on one geography. So you only help people in that area. So I just wanted to give you the diversity of the ways that you can make money as a business loan broker. I don't think any other business has these options. Like, I'm giving you a solution for every type of problem you can bring me. Oh, what if the person doesn't have any revenue, Oz? What if they don't have credit? We're like, oh, we got an option for that. That doesn't mean everyone's going to get it approved. But as a smart business owner, we're teaching you creative financing. That's what it comes down to. Sure, the strategic name for this alternative lending, but this is all creative financing for individuals and businesses. So this is our SLOC product, not our, but we teach this within our BLB. SLOC it stands for syndicated line of credit. Another word for it is credit card stacking. So you can offer up to $100,000 worth of credit cards to your customers with 12 to 24 months of 0% interest. You can take advantage of this yourself. So this is, again, one of my favorite options because you can help someone get access to up to 100K. Whereas if they randomly apply for credit cards on their own, they would have probably gotten approved for like 25,000, 30,000. Since our partners know based on that person's specific situation by going through their credit report, they can help that person get the maximum amount that their credit allows at 0% interest for 12 to 24 months. The way our partners and you make money is that you charge a success fee, right? Meaning that, so we're doing this work, you're charging 8 to 10% of the total funded amount. So if you're getting them 100,000 and the success fee, just for the sake of math, 10%, that's $10,000. So you're making $3,000, $4,000 from each of these transactions. Can the client go through maybe a guy who shows them how to do it, but that guy is going to probably charge 5 to 10,000 just to show that? Is it better to rely on the experts so that way you are making money as a broker and they're getting the max and they have a company they're experts in doing this, Equipment leasing, I'm going to go through this. There are millions of companies who buy equipment. What counts as an equipment? Software is an equipment. Construction vehicles is an equipment. Cars, they're equipments. So most things people buy to run their business is equipment. The problem with buying an equipment is that either the company that you're buying from needs to finance it. Usually they have very strict requirements to finance it, or you have to have cash. It's not like buying a car for your leisure. Like, that's not like going to Toyota and they give you 75 months financing. When you're buying it for your business, the options are little. So, if you're a cybersecurity company and you need to buy a software for $100,000, they're going to want to put that on a credit card. But if you take the invoice for that and finance finance it, you can finance it up to 60 months. And we have, partners who do that. So average deal size, again, I don't want to go into details of how this works. We have a full training on it. We have the partners for it. They do the work for you. All you do is, if you're into this kind of stuff, we have people who come from trucking industry. They get this. This has been their lives for the past 2 decades or so, right? And the average commission on this one is $1,500 to $3,000. Amazing opportunity. We have people in our community, which we call experts. We have about 25 experts in our community. They are not our employees. They joined BLB and made a lot of money, and they're still doing it, and they're helping other members. They're giving back to our community. So we award them with that rank in our social media channel and within Facebook group. So you immediately recognize them. So if they respond back to your questions, it's coming from a super legitimate, recognized source by me, and we reward them. We have them attend our events. You talk to them. I don't know of any network that has access to those experts. So when you join, you're not just getting access to me. There's a lot more. It's not just a one trick pony, one person company. So we have a lot more going on. So equipment leasing is super hot. All right. So this is another real estate partner. They focus on pretty much any real estate that's not funded by banks. They can go up to crazy amounts. I just wanted to pull this eligibility matrix from them. As you can see, even if the credit score is not ideal, 660, and there's a second page on this, which again, I didn't want to scare you guys. You don't need to understand this. They're just showing the flexibility. They're funding Airbnbs. Airbnbs are super hot. Then you hear people talk about how to make money with Airbnbs. Yeah, but why would I want to make money with Airbnb when I can actually fund Airbnbs? I can take advantage of this massive splurge of demand on Airbnbs and be the guy or the girl who helped them get financing to our lending partners. It's a lot more lucrative than you subleasing your house or somebody else's house or buying a new property. Obviously, I'm overly simplifying. If you're into Airbnb and investing, kudos to you. But I think it's much smarter to be the broker and work with the people who are investing into Airbnbs and financing for that, because it's a hot, sexy market right now. Everyone wants to own an Airbnb or be an Airbnb business. They don't just do Airbnbs. I just wanted to give you a very simple example of how we can do creative financing and help people get access to capital. And every time that happens, you get paid. All right, guys, thank you for joining. Has this been helpful? Love you guys. Take care now. Bye-bye.